Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the best podcast for the business and marketing side of the sawmill, lumber, and wood industry. What's a woodpreneur? If you have a business where you make money as a woodworker, sawmill owner, selling slabs, or a content creator, then you're a woodpreneur. My name's Steve Larosiliere, and I started Woodpreneur Life, Acres of Timber, and the Woodpreneur podcast just for makers, wood entrepreneurs, and small business owners just like you. We're on a mission to empower thousands of wood businesses to grow sustainably and put out great products. Each week, I interview makers, sawyers, content creators, and 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs that know the wood industry inside and out. With topics covering everything from the urban lumber movement, sustainable sourcing and design, we'll discuss the ins and outs of how to grow, monetize, and fully immerse yourself in the woodpreneur lifestyle. If you're a hobbyist, a full-time wood business owner, part-time entrepreneur who wants to become a content creator, or quit your day job to pursue your dreams, the Woodpreneur podcast is just for you. Thanks so much for listening. Now enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. As your host, Steve Larosiliere. Today's guest is George Pena from Old Lake Mill. How you doing, George?
Good. How you doing, Steve?
I'm great. Tell everybody about Old Lake Mill. Where are you at, and tell us what you do.
So, I guess I would be called an urban logger. I own a sawmill in Merced, California. And so I do a lot of urban log salvage. Started off small, but little by little it's been growing. So I've been at it about 7 years now.
Okay, cool. How'd you get into it? How did you decide that this was the path that you were going to go down?
You know, it's not originally, well, okay, I'll start from the beginning. So I am a woodworker, but I'm also a falconer. And so falconers use equipment made out of wood. So the combination of falconry and woodworking is not very common. So I ended up making equipment for falconers all across the country. So because of that, I ended up taking my logs to sawyers north of me and have them mill my lumber for me. Well, I was getting to the point where I was doing it so often that I just bought my own mill. So the mill I decided on was a Woodmiser LT50, the super hydraulic, and ends up producing way more lumber than I could use for my own. So that turned into, portable milling, custom milling. And so, little by little, that has taken off on its own.
That's great. So tell us about the business, like the main services and products. Like what do you mainly do? Yeah.
So I do a little bit of everything. I would say probably the bulk of my business is redwood milling for decks, pergolas, and fences. I do mill hardwoods, but that's a long game. That, of course, takes time to dry from the log stage, lumber stage, all the way to the finished product. We're talking a couple years to be done right correctly. But the redwood can be used hot off the mill. So that's the bulk of it. That's done. If you look at my scrap pile, it's 90% redwood. And then I mill all the other stuff and let it sit. And then when it's ready, go into the finished stage.
That's awesome. How did you get the word out in your business like 7 years ago?
So it started small, and honestly, because I am a one-man show, I don't do a whole lot of marketing. As it is, I'm call it 2 months behind on everything. So I got standing orders that people are happy to wait for.
Yeah.
But no, it's all word of mouth at this point. Recently I got a website, and that's gotten some attention. But when I'm ready, so the long and short of the story is the location I'm at now is temporary. So I'm on 2 acres north of town. It's ag use, but I'm waiting for a spot that I could buy or rent where I could really hang a shingle and get the whole thing going with employees and all that good stuff. So literally I have all the infrastructure. I'm just waiting for something like that to come along. So UC Merced is a UC town. And so the prices of property have just taken off. And so the good stuff is a hot commodity. and so I'm looking for that one location.
That's really cool. And how, like, when you think about your ideal customer, who are they right now?
Well, of course, my ideal customer is somebody who's into fine woodworking. So somebody who does the really high end. That's the material I was after when I started. So when I started, there's the city crews cut trees. So it's 100% urban log salvage for me at this point. But the city of Merced has the tree city designation. So we've got trees, from, late 1800s planted throughout town, but they don't live forever. So when they get close to the end of their life, the canopy starts to fall away. The city considers it a liability. So they'll cut it down, but there's nothing wrong with the log. Like the log is like at its premium point right here. So those hardwoods are the ones I am interested in. That's what I'm starting to get interested in. But honestly, the short term stuff is what's paid all the bills. So I do have customers that have bought large quantities of hardwoods, but that's, like I said, that's a long game. As anybody who knows how long it takes to properly dry wood, it takes a while. So yeah, that's 3 or 4 years in the making.
Are you still doing any woodworking yourself?
So mostly milling. I do build projects, and I have done a few high-end commissions. But yeah, it's mostly milling. As far as woodworking goes, I turn on the lathe. I build cabinets, tables, all that stuff. The smallest stuff, like from a pen down to up to like the big conference tables and the whole thing. It's a fascination with the wood and the possibilities. I think that drives that.
Yeah, yeah. From when you first started to where you are now, how far or how close are you to that vision that you had?
I would say I'm about 25% away, 75% there, I guess, from getting there. But literally have all the equipment. So my equipment consists of the wood miser. I have a 529 track skid. I have my iDry Plus, 3 trailers for hauling. So my truck, chainsaws. I mean, it list goes on and on. So literally, I'm just waiting for a spot to land so that I can go ahead and get production rolling.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What does that, what, aside from having this space where you can, really build out, like what does the future hold? Like, what's your future vision for your business?
So ideally, I would love to get into timber framing. I think I'm set up for that. I'm fascinated with the old mortise and tenon joinery. I want to build stuff like the old world craftsmen did. So I follow a ton of guys that are really into that, and that's just so amazing. On the West Coast, we're fortunate that we have some really big trees, and so we have a lot of let's see, ornamental cedars, the four true cedars, so the Deodora, Lebanese, Atlas, and the Cipriani, and those lend themselves beautifully to timber framing. And I currently have a huge stockpile of beautiful clear logs that, so when I do move into a location, I want to make an outdoor showroom and showcase a lot of this timber framing, and the possibilities with that's just amazing.
Um, Tell me, before all of this, like, what was your sort of first profession?
So my first profession, what I actually do for work, this is going to kind of sound weird, but so I'm a falconer, and so I started off falcon.
That's like your that was like your profession. That's how you made money.
That's what I do for work. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you do you
So
mind
I'm a
telling us what
falconer.
that means?
Sure. So that
Because you're my first falconer that I've ever met. Still,
okay. There's not many around.
yeah.
So I started off when I was 13 training hawks and falcons. Um, and so it's been going on 40 years now that I do that. about 20 years ago, like I started getting asked for help from people who needed help with birds. So yeah, so what I do is I go out to a location. So let's say a vineyard has starlings coming in and eating all the wine grapes.
Yeah.
I have trained falcons. We go out there with the falcon. I release the falcon, and the falcon scares away all the birds. So it's a daily thing during the season. So my day typically consists of in the morning till 1 o'clock. It's what I call bird work. So I do bird work every day till about 1. And I tell my clients is if you want to meet me at the mill, it starts at 1, and then I'll go to dark. But yeah, that's how it works. So falconry is an excellent solution for bird problems. So it's the same thing as if you were swimming in the ocean and somebody yelled shark. How fast would you get out of the water? And so it works beautifully for bird abatement.
That's incredible. So you literally built a business because you were using the wood in your falconry.
Correct. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you overspent on a mill and started producing.
That's it.
Instead of getting like a manual mill, you went all out.
Yeah.
And you got the BMW of mills.
It was a impulse buy, but I'm not regretting one bit of it.
No, of course, yeah, absolutely. And then you're like, oh my god, I'm producing way too much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
oh my god, I'm around all this redwood that could be used immediately. So
Yeah.
then you just started. That's how the whole thing started.
It took off from there. Yeah. No, once people realize that there's a local sawmill, so that's let's see, a trade that's not common, but really, my opinion is most cities of any size should have a sawmill because it fills a niche that you're not going to find anywhere else. So yeah, if there's towns out there, they're all looking for that Sawyer.
Yeah, yeah. How have so at this point it's been mainly like word of mouth that's you've grown your business?
Word of mouth, yeah. And there's been no lack of business. So I'm kind of visible where I'm located, and so those people driving by, they will tell other people, and the list goes on and on. And being a one-man show for the most part, it's plenty of work for me to do. And all I ask of that business, so my first business supported and floated this business, but what I ask of this business is that it makes all its own payments for all the equipment. So I provide the labor and it pays for itself. And that's how it's worked to date. They all pay for it. It all pays for itself.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. What about uh do you collaborate with other people in your community as well?
Definitely. So I do falconry and woodworking, but like metal work or electrical or any of those other things, I don't have the time to do all of that. So I'll definitely collaborate with the other trades when we're building something. So whether it's pergolas or installing mantles or all that stuff, yeah, there's other trades that I work with, and I love working with other skilled tradesmen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's incredible. What well, let me go and ask this is that what do you know now that you wish that you knew when you first started?
That's a great question. Uh, so, number one, how to correctly choose a sawmill and for what your end product wants to be, and also what your market is. So, what I've learned is that people will always need lumber.
Yeah.
From
Always.
the beginning of
Always. It's
time,
not getting replaced by AI. No.
no,
No, no, no.
it's going to go on forever.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is a renewable resource, and the list goes on and on. But whatever your local market is, choose your mill based on that. So if you got a small town, just small hobbyist, choose your mill accordingly. If you got a bigger mill, there's going to be a bigger demand for dimensional lumber. pick that mill, and don't be afraid to do it. So when I bought my mill, I happened to be about 15 minutes away from the dealership visiting a friend,
Okay.
and had no intention of buying a mill. So I pull into the dealership, and it's Jennifer Alger with Far West Forest up in Sheridan. And so, we chat for a while, and she's like, okay, so she takes me up to the chart, and here, this mill is going to be what you're looking for. So I'm like, cool, can I take it? And she's like, no, it's going to take like 6 months. And I'm like, 6 months? That's a long time. What do you have here?
Yeah.
So she's like, well, we have an LT50 still in the plastic. I'm like, I want that one right there. So that thing followed me home, and yeah, it's a great time. Once you operate a fully hydraulic computerized sawmill, you're not going back.
You're not going back.
It's just
with the laser and the remote and
everything.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Yeah. That 50 horsepower diesel, 2 pumps, the whole thing.
What's the sorter, right? Like that, just like.
Yeah, it pulled the boards off and all that good stuff.
Yeah, my father-in-law has a 50 that he bought from Jennifer too. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Cool. You know what? Why don't we spend the rest of the time talking about how to grow your business?
Definitely.
So this is the part of the podcast where I give you any marketing or business advice. Tell me, what do you need help with?
Honestly, I think marketing is my biggest issue. I'm a falconer and a sawyer, but not into marketing. So definitely, I think the start for me was the website, but more of a, let's see, social media presence as well as YouTube. I think that's where everybody's going to now as far as marketing goes. You do get a lot of people that still go the traditional route, but everything is social media now.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm I'm looking at so this is a couple of things. One is the one thing that I would do is you're not registered on Google Business Profile.
I need to do that.
You're like I mean, if you're killing it on word of mouth, um like I would make sure I would set up a Google Business Profile.
Okay.
Um and that's super easy, and because your current location is your house, right?
No, I'm actually working out of 2 acres north of town.
Okay, so that's perfect. And you can get mail there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I would easily set up a a Google Business Profile. That's the very first. And um now that you have a website, I would I would list there as well, right? Like list your website, and then
Oh, yeah, I see.
so you have your Google Business Profile, so that, and if anytime somebody searches sawmills near me, like you pop up
Right.
first, right? So
Okay.
like I'll do sawmills, Merced, California. Let me just see. Oh, you are number one. That's really cool.
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, that so that and there's another one, Atwater, Big Creek Lumber. Do you know them?
Yeah, that's a big box store.
It's a big box store, right? So you could
That's
like
where you get all
literally
your twisted and warped stuff.
yeah, you could like literally dominate. And I'll see if I could do a search. Let's just see sawmills, and then let's see sawmills, Merced, California. Let me just see what shows up first, because what county are you in?
Merced County.
Oh, it is Merced County. Okay. Because the one thing that I would, so that would be the first thing. The second thing is I'm actually very surprised that you didn't have a falcon as your logo. Like,
Okay.
because as the falcon, as like the local falconer, like like linking those two would have been like my first choice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have your falcons like on landing on the lumber, like on your shoulder while you're milling. Like, that could have been like a very amazing like marketing tool.
Okay.
That, like, especially too. I mean, it's not like you need to change your name, but I would figure out how to incorporate your falconry into your business and your brand, because it makes you stand out so much, right?
Excellent idea.
So, like, whether they are with you, on your shoulder, or they're like on the mill, or you know what I mean? Just like,
Okay.
just find some way to incorporate it. I would also figure out, let's see, Old Lake Sawmill. So, so sawmills, let's see, let me just put lumber. I'll do lumber, Merced, California. So the second thing that I would do would be to optimize your web page so that you can get more,
Okay.
search volume. And then, so I'm using a tool right now that allows me to see how much uh search traffic you get. And so far it doesn't look like there are many other people like you in your town. Am I right?
I'm the only show in town.
That's wild. All right. So this you have a very big competitive advantage. And so the one thing that I would do, and so most sawmill lumber companies, and don't take this the wrong way, it's because I've interviewed 400 people. I've worked with 100 different wood businesses and sawmills. The number one problem is that they think too small. And the other part is that you, if you are backed up for 2 months, that means that you are the bottleneck of the business. And so, I mean, I'll just tell you how I would do it. And this is like for everybody, is like, I would quickly find somebody that you can train that can mill on your mill.
Yeah.
I would find somebody, and your next job, have them sorting out. And then if you have extra logs around afterwards, literally train them on how exactly to do it. Give them different dimensions on what to cut. And then you teach them from start to finish, and record yourself teaching them how to do it. Right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then have them shadow you. So like, what you want to do on your next couple of jobs is charge a little bit more to pay for that person's time.
That's a good. Yeah, and actually, that's what I did I did a 320 feet worth of fence, and I hired 2 guys to help me with that, because there's no way I could have done that in that time frame.
So what I would do is like find somebody, and if do you have somebody that you can think of that would want to learn how to mill?
There's a standing line, and so I think with that issue, what's happened is I've held some of those real close to my chest, because I didn't trust a lot of people with my equipment.
Oh, of course.
And
yeah.
so
they gotta earn it. They gotta earn it.
Yeah.
But literally, just like, you teach somebody for like weeks on how to do this.
Yeah.
Like, hey, take a look. This is why I'm doing it. This is the strategy on how I'm cutting. And by you teaching, you're going to get better too, because you're going to get better at explaining. And
yeah.
So, because the only reason why you're not, I don't know, a multi-million-dollar business is because you are literally the bottleneck.
You're right, Steve. Thank you.
Like, you're literally the bottleneck. And most
Yeah.
people, this is for the people that are listening. They're like, I don't want to hire anybody. I don't want it. Nobody's trustworthy. No, everybody's lazy. Young people are this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't like it's because of you. That's the reason why
Yeah.
people don't grow or aren't able to because the other thing too is, wouldn't it be nice to make money and not have to mill?
Oh, I'm definitely ready to get there. Right, right.
Because
No, for
then
sure.
what would end up happening is that you will then switch to marketing your business. So now
Yeah.
you can go to the Chamber of Commerce. Now you can talk to the mayor. Now you can talk to the city forester and be like, hey, look, I've got some skill and I've got some capacity. And then
Right.
let's say your mill is maxed out. Or let's just say you start marketing more redwood fencing or more redwood decking or more redwood wallboard, right? Or wall cladding or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What will end up happening is now you can potentially add 3 people to your mill and now you're producing a product. So now you have
Yeah.
Merced branded redwood lumber.
Yeah.
And
That's the goal.
now you're producing lumber because now you've built yourself more time to build more relationships with contractors and developers and homeowners who know the Falcon guy is the guy that's selling lumber. Oh yeah. George Pena, the Falcon guy. Oh yeah, Falcon lumber. You know what I mean?
Right, right. No, that's an excellent idea.
So that's what I would do. So A is set up a Google business profile because that makes you legit. People can Google you and then they see that you have a business profile. And then I would quickly message 30 people that you know and tell them to leave reviews.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Second thing is optimize your website. Third thing is find somebody and call it, the Old Lake Mill Apprentice Sawyer Apprentice program, and then train somebody to do it.
Yeah. There's like 5 different industries just in what I do alone.
Exactly. So what I would do honestly is tell them, look, the training is for free. If you survive at the end of the training, I will give you a job. I will pay you for the work that you do, but I'm not going to pay you for the training, right?
Right.
So they can get paid. They can get paid for stacking, stickering, pulling boards off the mill, right? And
Right.
then at the end of the 5 weeks, and they can demonstrate that they can mill a log at the end of the 5-6 weeks, then you give them a job.
Excellent. It's going to be hard, honestly. That's going to be mentally. That's going to be the hardest part for me to do.
That's literally what I would do. That and you will have easily a multi six figure business doing that.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Any last bit of parting advice for the Woodpreneur community?
It's hard work, but like they say, if you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, George, for your time. I look forward to getting your story out with the Woodpreneur community. All right.
Thank you.